Welcome to episode 14 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. We are over a baker's dozen now. We are rolling and we are talking about Raw,
Let's
Monday
do
Night
it.
Raw. Last week, Rhea Ripley lost her title because of injury, and there's going to be a battle royal on Raw to decide who the new women's champion was going to be. That was the main event, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But it started off with a promo between Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Damian Priest still doesn't exactly seem comfortable on the mic. He seems to be like the kind of guy he started off real clunky, started to get better as it went along. He doesn't get as much mic time as you'd like from your champion. He's starting to get more now, which is good because I know that he can be better on the mic. He just needs to do it more. It's one of those, if you're not doing it every day, then you're going to get rusty. But and Jey was a little clunky to me too. I thought that the whole thing was just a little bit clunky. There were some good one-liners, like when they were talking about drinking back in their days when they were riding together, and Jey said that he got an Uber, and homage to his numerous DUIs that he suffered in the past. I thought that was hilarious, but I just thought it was a little bit of a clunky promo. It wasn't terrible, but it could have been better.
Yeah, it seemed like there were a lot of pauses for Uso before. Now, granted, when he talked, everything was together, but it seemed like there was a lot of stopping and pausing. But I mean, I know the way he, like the body language he uses, it kind of fit with that. But I mean, we've seen the Usos give plenty of other promos, especially in some of their great segments with New Day. When it flows a lot more smoothly than that did. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's just part of the way that Jey is presenting this iteration of his character, the main event Jey, and doing it like that. But yeah, I agree too with what you said about Priest. But I mean, I think that's going to come along with more opportunities, because in more of the backstage segments when he's like talking amongst multiple people, or even in his like real, his real interviews, like in like news or public appearances and stuff, he's very comfortable, like, and very personable, and just I think that'll come along as he goes, because I know he's getting whatever, the whole bondage Undertaker thing, but all that crap aside, I think he's got a good look. He's got like that booming voice. He's he's got a great look, and I think he's getting more comfortable on the mic, and all, like you said, all that'll come. Yeah. So, but I am very interested to see what happens with this match, because I know they had to change a lot of stuff, like, and again, one of these things, we kind of know what the original plan was for Rock and Roman, but they haven't, at least not to my knowledge, they haven't publicly gone into detail about what the plan was going to be for Punk and Rollins, and how in the aftermath of that match that was supposed to happen at Mania.
Right.
So it's like, okay, was that the plan all along, to have Priest cash in, but still in the process give Punk that main event moment, but Punk letting somebody else get that long run, and then everybody's happy? Or was this, they changed it on the fly and gave Priest the win when they weren't planning on doing that yet? I mean,
but if they weren't going to have Priest cash in, when were they going to have Priest cash in? And that's what I want to know, because you're running out of time before the next Money in the Bank. The briefcase doesn't carry over. So
correct. And so, I mean, all that to say, and I'm sorry, I know that was a little long-winded there, but it's intriguing to me, because you don't know, is he a placeholder champion, like Drew McIntyre said, or was this was this the plan all along? Because they sure have kept Judgment Day prominent over the last year. So I'll be interested to see
Well, there
what
was some
happens.
extreme cracks showing in Judgment Day during this segment when JD McDonough came out and interfered, causing Damian Priest to get super kicked in the face by Jey Uso, who was extremely apologetic for kicking him. It wasn't his intention, it seems like. But Priest then went out and said, I don't need you or you. You both need me.
No, McDonough kicked Priest. Didn't Jay
That's
move out of the way? Isn't that what happened?
Is that what happened?
Yeah, because McDonough was all like freaking out,
Okay. If that's what happened, that's fine. But regardless, Damian Priest said he doesn't need them; they need him. And normally, when people start saying stuff like that, that's the beginning of the end, or at least the end of the involvement of McDonough and potentially Dominic as well, who looks good in his arm sling and full-on mustache. But it'll be fun to see how they, if they wait for Ripley to split up the bloodline, or if they do it while she's gone. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Judgment Day, not the bloodline.
Whatever. Same group. Same group. It's too early in the pod for me to be messing up people's names already, but we'll move on from this and we'll go on to the World Tag Team Championship match between Awesome Truth and DIY. It was a fun little match. I pretty much am resigned to the fact that any match that R-Truth and Miz are in is going to be fun. It's not going to be a 5-star banger, but it's also not going to be a dud. They do very good crowd work, especially R-Truth. He's going to work the crowd and get people invested to enjoy the match. And I'm not going to say I'm surprised that Awesome Truth won. I don't think they're going to have the titles for very long. When they lose them, I don't know. Probably at their first pay-per-view defense. Or PLE defense, whatever you want to call it, but it was a fine match. It wasn't really all that much to it, but what did you think?
Well, when they won, my first thought was, okay, well, DIY is getting drafted to SmackDown. That's the only reason they did that. That had to be the only reason they did that. Was because they were like, oh, they may not get another opportunity if they keep getting opportunities and not capitalizing on them. And all the seeds are planted for that. But then you had Ciampa not shaking hands at the end and just leaving the ring. So are they going to bring them to SmackDown and then split them up, and are we going to have the fifth heel turn by Ciampa on Gargano and revisit that? Or again, very 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 interesting to see, because I figured it would just be a way to send them to SmackDown if they lost, but with that, I'm curious to see now where they go, if they split them up or if they send them both over there and then Ciampa turns or what. So, but yeah, the match was fine. I just, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't see them being the champs that long, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They're already champs for longer than I thought they would be, but yeah. But then we got the return of the Ring General himself. Gunther came out to the ring with his Imperium friends. New Day eventually came out as well. And they had a little confrontation. It was funny because what did Xavier Woods say? And nobody wants to see us wrestle again. We've wrestled 100 times already. So something. At least he had the self-awareness to say that, because yes, they have wrestled a lot, but he never said that when they were wrestling the Usos 10 times a week.
Yeah,
because I'll tell you who they fought more than Imperium. It was the Usos for a 3-year stretch where they fought at every pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that is true.
I'm honestly of the opinion the New Day and their 10-year run have only actually fought 3 different tag teams. But this set up a match ultimately between Imperium and New Day, and I mean, the match was what it was. But what I want to talk about is what happened after the match. There's a certain camera angle that WWE uses, and when they use that camera angle, I always know that it's about to be somebody turning on somebody.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, they kind of zoom out a little bit, and you could see Kaiser. He was like patting him on the chest, and the camera was on them for way too long. And like when the camera's on someone for way too
Oh
long,
yeah.
and it's awkward silence, then you just know that someone's about to turn on somebody, which is exactly what happened. Kaiser turned on Vinci.
And the excessive head padding and chest padding that has not happened in any of their other matches.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. But it happened in this one. And now we have the breaking up of Imperium, which every good faction is going to break up eventually. Did you think this was the right time for that to happen for them?
I don't think they're breaking up. I think he's getting replaced, but I don't know if you caught at the end where he was like, I did it. And he was talking to Gunther, who had already gone to the back. And
he had a big smile on his face.
Yes. So I think that if it's just going to be, if it's going to be just Gunther and Kaiser, or if they're going to recruit somebody else and keep it at 3.
Well, I think the logical person, if they were, well, not logical, but I'm just going to be nationalist here. But I think that Dragunov could get in there because he lost on NXT.
That ain't happening.
Yeah, I bet you it happens.
No, they're
you
not
heard it here first. Golden Squeeze prediction. Prediction sure to go wrong by the Golden Squeeze. Ilya Dragunov joining Imperium.
Nah.
He fits. He has the look of somebody who would be in Imperium.
Nah,
he looks.
Dragunov's not a faction guy. But
I'll tell you what. I don't see his character working on the main roster.
Dragunov?
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it working.
I do.
Nah.
He puts on good matches. He's got a catchy entrance, and he's not bad. He's not bad on the mic. Great facial expressions when he went through that table on NXT, and I mean, just all those. And I mean, the character is just like just never say die attitude kind of a guy. I don't foresee that being a problem on the main roster. At least I don't. But before the promo with Gunther, I think it was good. I think he did very good. Got to the point, and dude, I'm telling you, already some of the people that they've announced as being in this King of the Ring tournament, they're making this like a big deal.
Well, I hope so, because King of the Ring was important when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if not for King of the Ring, we might not have Stone Cold Steve Austin as we know him.
Right.
Bret Hart, 2-time champion. Owen Hart, one of the best King of the Ring winners of all time. I mean, it used to be very important, and there was a mystique behind the King of the Ring winner, and you would remember who was King of the Ring. And I remember who's King of the Ring now only because they now call those people King and Queen, like King Woods or Queen Zelina. Like I know it only because they call them that. Or was it King Nakamura? Was he one? I don't know. But I do agree. I hope that they go back to making this mean something. And obviously you don't need a title shot or something like that, but just make it important. Make it feel important. They used to make it feel important.
The caliber of people, they're already, at least two of the ones they've already talked about putting in there. I think it would justify getting a title shot. Because Gunther announced it, Drew McIntyre announced it, and did Sheamus announce it too when he came out there, or not?
I must have missed it if Sheamus did. I'm not saying he didn't.
Okay, I just can't remember because I know it was before Sheamus came out, or maybe he said it while he was talking, or while Drew was talking to him. But I know Drew McIntyre announced that he was participating in it as well.
And Xavier Woods,
he has to
retain his crown,
right? And that's understandable. But no, when Gunther said, and then after that, I'll decide which title I want to go after. So I don't know if that was just meaning once he wins that tournament, or if now they're incorporating a title opportunity as a result of winning. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be. It fit either way. The way he did the promo. So
I think that they would be better off though having an entire pay-per-view called King of the Ring, because they're not calling the pay-per-view King of the Ring, right?
No, it's going to be at a Crown Jewel show because they said it's going to be at in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't call it Crown Jewel. I wish they called it King of the Ring.
Oh yeah,
King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia is what I would like to make it feel even more special. I want them to go all out, go back to the way that it used to be.
Gunther has to win.
Pay-per-view. Seeing a guy wrestle, like 3 or 4 times in one pay-per-view, I like that personally.
They have to let Gunther win. He's got to be. He's got to.
Well, it depends on.
Well, I can tell you right now what's going to happen. You heard it here first. CM Punk is going to cost Drew again. And then by then, he'll probably be ready, and then either Clash at the Castle or Money in the Bank or whatever one. But I think it would make sense at Clash at the Castle.
Well, I think it depends on who's going to win. You're not going to have Drew lose a Clash at the Castle. If their intention is to have CM Punk win, then I don't think they're going to do it anywhere near Drew's hometown.
They had Drew lose the Clash last year.
But they're not going to have him do it again.
Why?
Maybe. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to have him lose again.
But I think
I don't think so.
I think though that this is going to be an ongoing thing until it. But I foresee Punk costing Drew at King of the Ring.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
But I definitely, regardless of when or which match it happens, I think Gunther's winning that. He's got to.
Well, I need to see the full field before I make my guess, but we shall see who else they put in it. But they've already got some big names.
It doesn't matter. We'll Gunther's winning. And I don't know if you noticed, but they still called him Gunther, and they still used his music. So no Walter and no old Mozart music or whatever that was.
It'll give it time. Give it time. And next up, we had a Drew McIntyre promo where he body shamed Sheamus as Sheamus came down to the ring as well, and said that he's eating burger after burger after burger.
And Sheamus couldn't help but to laugh. Like you're getting good at these one-liners.
He made Sheamus break. Yeah. He broke for a while. He had a smile on his face for at least 30 seconds. Yeah, but yeah, it's supposed to be teaching body positivity. People like me who have slightly worse body types than Sheamus, I was self-conscious taking a shower this morning, just thinking about that promo. My wife has been telling me I've been eating burger after burger after burger for years now, and now I'm hearing him say it. So, but yeah, it led to a match with Sheamus and
Shinsuke.
Shinsuke, where they continue to just, I don't know who Shinsuke, I don't know whose wife he messed with or who he punched in the face, but man, he gets the raw end of the stick. He just has to job out to everybody.
It's sad.
Makes no sense.
And on top of that, it was a good match. I enjoyed it, but I mean, again, once you saw who the opponent was, and the result, there wasn't much doubt. I say that that they made you wonder if Drew was going to interfere, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Sheamus was out for an extended period of time with, I believe, a neck injury. Why in the world are they doing any of these moves near his neck?
I don't know.
And
With the white noise and
yeah,
there's
and then
some moves you just gotta
and then
don't
yeah, and
do.
then Shinsuke,
Protect yourself.
Shinsuke uses the shin the shin hits a lot and the kicks and all that, and they were like, oh, Shinsuke targeting the surgically repaired neck. It's like, why? That's not necessary.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just, and I know Sheamus is a tough guy, and he'll always want to put on a good match and everything, and work to the strengths of whoever he's across the ring from. But I just, it's not necessary.
It's not.
And I didn't say
It's not.
when he posted about, hey, I didn't think I was coming back till the draft. It's like, why even at the draft? Give the man as much time as he needs. I mean, my God, he's been with the company for how long? And I, I don't know. The whole thing was weird, and how they brought him
It
back.
is weird. Like you really need to bring him back early. Where I like
Oh,
Sheamus,
me
but it
too.
wasn't a situation where I thought, oh, WWE needs Sheamus. They don't need
No,
Sheamus. He's a luxury.
and I feel like it was almost. And I may have touched on this before, like like fan service to the Canadian fans, because that's where he had the previous match with the Edge. I think it was Edge's last
Mm.
match in WWE, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I just thought that was, and again, this is without having backstage knowledge of any of that, or if Sheamus was like, "Hey, I'm ready," and he kind of pushed it or whatnot. Who knows? But anyways, now the match was fine, but barring the possibility of interference from Drew, we pretty much knew who was going to win that match.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then from there, we got Chad Gable on the mic,
This is pretty good.
who eviscerated his fellow Alpha Academy members, Akira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree, and Otis. Another situation of a wrestler in a faction saying he does not need his underlings. So they did it twice in one show. So I didn't have any. I mean, I thought that Gable did it better, but he essentially said a lot of the same things that Damian Priest said at some point while he was on the mic, just referencing how these people are nothing without me. But Gable actually is not bad on the mic,
No,
and
not at all.
if he had some size to him, he could be trouble. I mean, he is trouble. He is good, but just a small little guy. But if he was a little bigger, he could be in the main event scene. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be there. As currently constituted, he'll be a mid card guy who can definitely hold the Intercontinental title.
Yes.
Which I think I think this is leading towards him getting that at some
Yeah,
point.
because they definitely made that a point during that segment to talk about, hey, this we're gonna do whatever we can to get my Intercontinental title back, and then, I mean, I don't think it's gonna necessarily be the point of, Diesel turning on Shawn Michaels or Wardlow on MJF or anything like that. But inevitably, it's going to be great to see Otis kick his ass. So, because we know that's going to happen, and it's going to be great. Because I've got a feeling in this era, they're going to slow build it, and properly done, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, Otis is going to crack, and he's going to get him. But whatever happened to Tucker? Where did Tucker go?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up and see, because I do not know.
When did he just stop teaming with Otis and just one day was just gone, just completely gone from television? They should bring him back. Let him be in Alpha Academy. Speaking of Alpha Academy, there was I think it might have been when Vinci and Kaiser were fighting. It's always good to see Jason Jordan.
Yeah, I think it was Kaiser.
Yeah. I feel bad for Jason Jordan having that career-ending injury, or should I say, Jason Angle. But him and Gable, they could have been a really good tag team for a while if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Yeah, and just going back to that real quick, I thought it was great. Instead of the old fighting through 8 to 10 grown men, he just outsmarted him and used his speed and ran around and then kicked him in the head. I thought that was great. I was like, hey, look at that. Somebody not trying to go through 8 men and just doing the old fake out and hauling ass down there and making it happen. I thought that was great. I was like, hey, look at that. Common sense prevails. So
then we got Ricochet and Andrade versus JD McDonough and Santos Escobar. Earlier on in the show, there was a backstage interaction where Dominic Mysterio had indicated that he hurt his shoulder, would not be able to wrestle, but that he had commissioned the services of a Santos Escobar to help represent the Judgment Day, which was not necessarily good news to Damian Priest's ears, but he allowed it to happen, and we got this match, which I think, again, is just furthering the breakup or of at least some members of the Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day took another loss. And this might have actually been the segment where Damian Priest went off and said, I don't need you, you need me. I think it was this
yes, because he came out after the match and I think did the Razor's Edge to Ricochet and maybe did South of Heaven to Andrade. And then he was talking in Spanish to Dom, and JD was like, what did he say? What did he say? And he's like, I told him that I don't need y'all. Y'all need me. And it was it was good. And man, and I know it's nothing like not like an original type finisher or everything, but I love the way Priest does South of Heaven, because he's tall and that on top of the athletic ability of whoever's on the receiving end of it makes it look that much. That's like whenever you had somebody like small or just really athletic like Brock, that would take Undertaker's choke slam. Like they just look like they were literally going 15 feet in the air. And just, but with a guy Priest size, it just always looks more impressive. And and that's a long crash down, and it's a good looking move. And maybe again not the most original one, but it's a good one, and it looks good too when he does it. And okay. Unless Michael Cole just botched the name of it, I guess they decided to name Andrade's finisher something different, because they did not call it the same thing this week.
I didn't pick up on
what
that. What did they call it
on Monday? But it used to be called like The Message. Like a few weeks ago, it was called The Message, and now it was called something else. And I was like, oh, maybe.
Let's
I
see
was
if we
like,
can
oh,
figure out what
well,
they're calling
maybe Cole just messed up. But then I was like, no, he just said it again.
it. I think the fans wouldn't notice, but we have eagle-eared Wade here, hearing everything that Michael Cole has to say.
Speaking of things Cole said, and his commentary partner, he didn't really shy away from picking on Men's Warehouse, a couple subtle shots at them again this week. So, oh boy,
that's crazy. Vince would have fired him for saying stuff about Men's Warehouse.
But so yeah, definitely the cracks are forming more and more in Judgment Day. What was next?
And we have gotten to the end of the show, and now we can talk about.
There wasn't a women.
Was there a
women's
Battle Royal
match in there somewhere? Or oh wait, never mind. They were all participating in the Battle Royal. Okay.
They all
like
they were all having a match. We had Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Maxine Dupree, Ivy Nile, Caden Carter, Katona Chance, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Nia Jax, Natalya, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch. Now, just by going off the roster of women that I just named, we already knew Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Maxine Dupree, Ivy Nile, Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark. We're not going to win. So the second that you saw this match and who was going to be in it, it was Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, or Becky Lynch. I forgot to say Natalya. She was never going to win. So it was Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Becky
you
Lynch.
know, and I know this is just okay. Well, never mind. I had every intention of going in blind watching Raw, but somewhere on I don't know if it was our TikTok page or Instagram, when I opened it, the first thing that popped up was like Triple H with Becky in the belt. And I was like, well, shit. and, but I mean, but that aside, like going into it, I remember thinking, I was like, well, you know, this would have been potentially a great time to just represent Shayna Baszler as a badass. A perfect opportunity to do so.
Ooh.
And
well, they tried to do that.
Okay, yeah,
on
and
Tuesday.
She probably got sent to La La Land. But I mean, hey, that's just
in the face.
So we all know that it's going to be the complete opposite result next week. But we'll get to that. And was more upset about this at first when I saw it, but again, if this isn't, if you know, they had to change something on the fly, and I'm guessing that they did this so Becky could drop the title to somebody that it will benefit by dropping it to them in a real one-on-one match.
And I agree with you. I think that Becky's the only person in that match could have won. And because anybody else, it should be a special moment. Becky, it doesn't need to be a special moment. She's got 50 titles. So let her win this. Don't let somebody win their first title or their second title in a battle royal, over the top battle royal. Don't let them win it in a one-on-one or even like a triple threat match at a PLE, not on a throwaway match because somebody got hurt on a Raw. That just I don't think that's as fair to whoever it would have been. I guess Liv. I mean, it wouldn't have been Liv's first title, it would have been her second title, I think, maybe. But you know, Becky wins it all the time. Liv hasn't had it for a while. When she does win it, it's going to be a moment, I think, just based off of the way that she's been booked in the past 2 months. I think that Becky was. I think it was the right choice, or at least the smart choice, just given all the factors. Because she's not going to. I don't have a long reign. I don't think. This is not.
I don't either.
Yeah, this is going to be a short reign. I don't know how long Ripley's going to be out for. It could be a situation where she just has it until Ripley comes back. She could, I think ultimately Liv is going to take it from her and Liv's going to win the title. It could also be a situation where they let Liv win another Money in the Bank briefcase and then cash in immediately on Becky.
No.
I don't know. But Becky's not going to have it for very long.
Tiffy times winning the briefcase.
I'm just not a big fan, though. Oh yeah, that's right. I would have preferred a women's tournament to win the title, other than just a quick over the top battle royal with 12 people. I would have preferred a title over multiple episodes. You don't have to have women's champion. If there's a tournament to win the title, I think that's sufficient to keep the title prominent. I just don't think somebody
they were in
has
a bind
to do it
because
the right
they
way.
wanted somebody to have it for the draft. That's my belief on that. I think they were just kind of in a time
rules
crunch.
But the rules that they've put into place indicate that the champions aren't even draftable.
They said the champions are protected.
Yeah, by their brand. So Cody's going to be on SmackDown. Becky's going to be on Raw, I guess, now because she has the title. I just think that if you can't actually draft the person, then I don't think that the draft should be an excuse. It's not like SmackDown could or Raw could take Cody,
but they've always he's just historically, and yes, I know they're changing a lot of stuff, but historically, I think they felt, hey, we've got to have every champion crowned by the time the draft starts. I see the points you're making. I just think that is part of why that decision was made.
Sure, but it's scripted television. They know who's going to have the title in a month. So just whoever you want to have the title in a month, put them on the show that you want to have them on. I just think that there's ways around, I guess, what their issues are. If you think that Ripley's going to win the title right when she comes back, and you want her on SmackDown, draft her to SmackDown now, and then it is what it is. Or it just is. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a little odd to me, but I'm not going to whine and complain too much. I understand why they did the Battle Royal. I understand how we got here. I don't like how we got here, but I don't like that Ripley's hurt. I don't like that she had to vacate her title. I don't personally think she had to, even though they had her do it. She's only going to be out for 1 or 2 months. I mean, Roman Reigns went 1 or 2 months at a time without wrestling. And what is it, a shoulder? She can come out an arm sling and cut a promo, or take CM Punk. She could do what CM Punk did at WrestleMania, but I don't know. It's a choice that they're making, and I trust that their choice. But we'll see how this all plays out. I mean, we're going to get a lot of questions answered on Friday and Monday, so we'll see.
Yeah, a couple of other things from the match that I love. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a spot where Piper Niven was recuperating over in the corner, and Chelsea Green was over there fanning her, like trying to give her aid by fanning her in the corner. It was amazing, dude. And that was great. And they also they definitely went out of their way to show Maxine Dupree as a potential up and comer, like with what Becky said before the match started, and then during the match, some of the interactions she had and the people she was eliminating. And I don't know if you caught, they also had a promo beforehand with I don't know if you call it a vignette, I guess, or whatever, with Zoe Stark, like talking about her beating Trish Stratus and sending Trish packing, and being having a good match against Becky and about beating Becky and coming close against Rhea, and so I'm thinking they're gonna kind of give her a push at some point based on that and the vignette. But back to the match, that was one of the worst manhandle slams I've ever seen. I don't know if Liv just completely mistimed the jump to assist, or if like Becky had told her earlier, hey, just let me do it, don't oversell it or something. But I mean, it was just it didn't look like Liv jumped very much, or it could have just been a timing issue, but it just if it would have been like an emphatic one, but I mean, just to lose that way, I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. But anyways, but yeah. So it is what it is. Becky's the champ again, but I think I think that'll be good for whoever pins her to take the title soon, because I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But let's move away from Raw and let's talk about NXT a little bit, because we got Spring Breakin'. First thing I'm going to say is I think that is the dumbest name for something ever. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, Spring Break. Why are they saying something? They're saying Breakin'. And then I see it in writing. I'm like, oh, they are saying Breakin'. That's just stupid. That's just a stupid name. And it irritates me every single time they say Spring Breakin'. That's just dumb to me. I don't know what your thoughts on the name are, but I can't stand that name.
Well, that is far from my biggest gripe about this show.
I mean, it's far from my biggest gripe as well. But that being said, NXT's been doing so many things recently that have pissed me off, and this is just I'm adding it. This just made the list, as Jericho would say, because that just it irritates the heck out of me. But we start off with a championship match between Roxanne Perez, Valkyria, and Tatum Paxley. Perez retained her women's championship.
Yeah, I don't think it was
what I thought was a pretty good match.
I don't think it was long enough, but yeah, it was a good match.
Pretty good match.
I liked the way it ended with the Paxley hitting the 450, and then Roxanne sneaking in and getting her with the pin, and the crowd was firmly rooting for Tatum Paxley in this one, and it wasn't even close. So I'm thinking, with that character, and just putting on good matches, I think she's definitely got an opportunity to get the title soon. But we'll see, and is obviously going to be there for at least a little longer as the champion, unless she just gets drafted and vacates it. But
they've done in the past where a champion from NXT still has the title, and then they give him one last match, have him lose, then put him on the main roster, so they could do that too. And I'm not the biggest fan of that, because then who's going to win. I mean, if they get drafted to a show and then they have a match afterwards for the title, what's going to happen. But they can do it. They can do it that way. They don't have to have her vacate. I don't think they'll have her vacate. Yeah. I just think they'll have her lose. But I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But then it goes on to your favorite faction, the Family. After they defeated the No Quarter Catch Crew by pinfall. There it is. The hat.
Yeah, I gotta get
looking like Pharrell Williams. I like it. That's perfect.
I like this. It's great that that Charlie Dempsey was not allowed to speak prior to this match, but it was good. It was good, and talking about characters that will and won't work on the main roster. Like I said, I don't think this current iteration of the Don would work on the main roster. However, if they just tweak that character, the way he throws punches, the stiff strikes, and that's a strong dude. And I think
mm-hmm.
and again, just like the moves that may not be original or anything, but just the way he does them makes them look that much more like like emphatic or whatever. And I definitely think he's got a good look. But if they can just tweak that a little bit, I think he could thrive on the main roster. Or even if they just tweak that faction a little bit, I think it would be fine. Because Crucifino and Stacks are good wrestlers too. I think they'd be a good tag team. And like on the main roster. But I mean, again, they've got some
maybe
because Crucifino and Stacks or work well as a tag team. They had some good like combination moves, and yeah, I just as much as I love the gimmick, I just don't think it would work on the main roster.
It's not going to work. There's no tweak you can make. If they're going to stay together, it's not going to work. They got to split them up once they get up to the main roster. Completely change. Maybe not completely change the gimmick.
No, absolutely not.
Get rid of the hat.
That's not happening. No.
Get rid of the hat.
I'm thinking, oh, dude, here's a great idea. So they finally go to jail for murder since they've been admitting to it for several months now on live television, and they somehow beat it. They somehow beat the case, but they're on like probation or something, and so they can't be officially a crime family anymore, but they can still be badasses, and that's how they go to the main roster. You heard it here first.
Oh, okay. Yes, you did, from my co-host, not from me. I do not endorse this. All right, let's move on. Fallon Henley versus Jada Parker with OTM.
No, she didn't.
Henley got the win. This was, in my opinion,
Jada Parker
Henley
won
defeated Parker
with that finishing move I told you about, the hip check, and I think they called it a teardrop hip check. No, Jada Parker 100% won.
100% won. Okay, then
yeah,
what I'm looking
Jada
at is
Parker
100%
definitely
wrong,
got
then.
the win because when she hit the move, she
there's a mistake on here.
Did you see this match? Did you see it? It's a hip check.
Yeah,
that is her finishing maneuver.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, surely not. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just, part of the play from the previous opponent and the constant losing streak. But when she beat Fallon Henley with it last night, I was like, oh, okay, this is a main finishing maneuver. And dude, she's got swag. She's got a great look. OTM's entry music is amazing. But they've got to find a better finishing move for her. They have to. And but great look, great presentation. They've got to fix that. But no, it was And how the match came to be was so rushed and thrown together. The brawl in the locker room, but right beforehand was a little absurd. But hey, they got him on the spring break-in show. But yeah, they could definitely find a different finisher for her.
And they've got so many seasoned veterans back there, like Shawn Michaels and William Regal. You'd think that one of them would sit down with her and be like, hey, let's find you a different finishing move because this one is terrible. But it's not what they're doing. So maybe they like it, or maybe they just don't watch that part of the card and have never seen her finishing move before. But whatever it is, it's not a finishing move. That's all I know. Not a finishing move. But next is a segment that we touched on when we were talking about Raw. It was Lola Vice revealing Shayna Baszler as her training partner for NXT Underground. And Shayna, when she came out, I will give her this. She sounded better on the mic. Her voice never really fit her body. But she sounded pretty good on the mic before, after proclaiming herself to be a badass. And then she took a nice kick to the jaw and she entered the shadow realm because we never saw her again after that.
I saw her laid out, and then when they had the big everybody got wiped out, I could see her in the background, so she was still there. Yeah.
Okay, good. She's not dead.
She's not the Firefly Funhouse realm.
Yeah, exactly. But WWE was really trying to sell the importance of WWE of Underground. Like, no one cares about Underground. I don't care about Underground. There was nothing they did with the Underground before that made me need more. I mean, it was fine. I also noticed that Ava is bigger than Adam Pearce. Is his name Adam Pearce? Yeah. She was taller than him. How big is Ava?
Yeah, I don't think Adam Pearce is
small is Adam Pearce?
Very tall guy.
Still, I just feel like Ava should be not taller than him, but I don't know, maybe. But yeah, they were trying to sell the brutality of NXT Underground, and I'm just not buying all that.
I'm definitely not buying Natalia.
I'm not buying any of that.
You think she's Lola Vice? You can pencil that in. Lola Vice is winning that match.
She should. She should. Natalia, at this point in her career, should probably never win a match again. But no, I'm sure they'll sneak one in on a dark match. That,
knows whether you like Lola Vice's music or not. I can't get it out of my head for like a good 30 minutes once I hear it.
I do not. I do not like your music. It is catchy, but I do not like it. I do not like it. Then we got a beach brawl with Blair Davenport versus Sol Ruca. I'll say this. When Sol Ruca fought last week, I said it was clunky, it was choreographed, and it wasn't very good. I thought this was a much better showing in this match than the one before.
Yes.
There were some nicer spots. She has a move. I don't know what it's called. It might be her finisher where she did like a springboard off the rope and then caught her,
it's the
Davenport
the Soul
Crusher. I think it's her finishing move.
Yeah. I think she usually does it.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong on this, but I feel like she usually does it from the turnbuckle. Oh, Soul Snatcher. Okay.
Soul Snatcher. Okay. According to this, Soul Snatcher.
It was Soul something.
Yeah.
Oh, that looked clean. That was a good spot. That was a good spot.
That looked good. That was a nice looking move. I think that there's a lot that can go wrong with that move. It looked good there. I think that a lot can go wrong, and especially for somebody who's not the most seasoned wrestler, I could see her messing that up. But
before that,
looked good.
Jumping from the barricade onto the table, that was a good spot. But dude, there was one towards the beginning when she set up like the bench, and when Sol got thrown into it, I have a feeling it was probably supposed to break, and it did not. And then, did you catch the stop to the back and the way that? And now, granted, you can tell she's probably flexible, the moves, the cartwheels, all that stuff that Sol Ruca does. But the way her back bent, it looked like that stomp was either not delivered correctly or not taken correctly, and it looked bad, like painful. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh boy.
I don't know if I noticed that.
But one of my favorite parts of this was the announcers at Vic Joseph with Booker T. He was like,
yeah,
just look at the weapons of destruction around the ring. And right when he said that, it was a shot of like a plastic beach bucket and a plastic kid shovel and beach balls. It's like, what? Oh, it was just god awful timing for him to make that comment. Yeah, I mean,
well, he might have been being sarcastic.
But if it would have been Booker T, I'd probably be more inclined to agree with that. But he's the face announcer, and Booker T's the heel.
Yeah. Well, one thing that WWE doesn't always do well is when they have these type of matches, because they do these all the time, 4th of July, and they'll have like all the food in the ring, and they'll start fighting. It normally ends up being like a campy mess where it's just everyone's just doing stuff just to support whatever holiday it is. But I actually didn't have a problem with all the stuff in the outside of the ring, the beach balls, and the way that they interacted with the items. I actually thought it was much more natural than the way they
there were some
corny
spots towards the very beginning. Well, I mean,
well, yes,
but just yeah. Towards the end, though, like the stuff and there was one spot, just some of the shots they did, and granted, like, hey, I know they don't do the unprotected chair shots like they used to, as well.
They should.
I mean, for us, yeah, it'd be awesome. But
I'd love for Josh Briggs to take a couple unprotected chair shots.
Just when you do it so slow, though, it's like, okay, listen, if they had the plastic bats that looked real, get just a different material chair. I'm sure they've got a prop guy that can make you something and just whack the crap out of somebody with it. But I don't know, just some of those, it just irritates me when they're like, and then they're like, oh my God, like acting like, they just went, just took a metal chair shot to the head, and but no, I thought I thought it was a good match. I don't, and again, I don't remember if it was in an actual match with Davenport, but they kept talking about Davenport's the one who put Sol Ruca on the shelf for a year, and then when she was walking out, they're like, Sol can finally move forward, so I think that's the end of that feud. And there was a funny part in there where Vic Joseph brought that up about, took a year off of her career, and Booker T was like, why we gotta talk about the past? Oh, dude, it was great. But yeah, no, it was fine. Now I thought it started out a little clunky, but no, as they got going, and I agree, man, that finisher looked good. That was good.
Yeah. It looked really good. But speaking of good finishers, the next match was between Lexis King and
a travesty.
Baron Corbin.
I don't know if Corbin's in bad standing again or what happened. I mean, this was why? I mean, because of a backstage interaction, you have the match. If anything, it should have been a squash. Corbin should have squashed him. And yes, I know it was. I know it was a low blow that led to the finish, but I mean, I was like, hey, they finally did right by Corbin. Gave him an NXT takeover spot, where they retained the titles, and then had a great match when they dropped the titles, and then they do this crap. I mean, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And not only that, Corbin didn't even get a deep six in or any of the like setup moves. It was really just weird. And just some of that stuff, man, I just don't understand. Like, what was the point of that?
Could it mean that he's about to get drafted?
Okay, have his last match be in that amazing tag team match they just had. Not that crap. Oh,
Maybe they were trying to
they've
give a
already
little rub
botched
to
Lexus King so bad with some of this 50-50 booking they've had with him over the past few months, and just I don't know, man. I thought that whole thing was just weird, but I still always enjoy seeing Lexus King slide in on the throne. that was the best part of that match to me.
I'll tell you what wasn't weird.
No.
The main event. Trick versus the newest member of the Imperium, Dragunov. And this was an excellent TV match. You don't, on television, I've heard that Vince didn't want people to go out on TV to put out their A game and throw out all the stops, because then it wouldn't leave as much to be desired when it comes time for a pay-per-view. So you're only allowed to be so good on Raw and SmackDown. You're supposed to hold back a little bit. I don't know if you ever heard that story, but about Vince saying that.
No, but then I'm just thinking of every In Your House pay-per-view that ended with a screwy finish. Every single one. I can't think of many clean championship matches that ended clean in an In Your House pay-per-view, because they had them all the time.
There wasn't a clean match in the Attitude Era. I could probably count on one hand the amount of clean matches that happened from like 95 to 2000.
Yes.
But this match was fantastic. I think it was the swan song to Dragunov before he goes up on the main roster. Trick gets the title. Now he can start working his title defenses. There was a lot of good offense in this match. I just thought it was a high quality.
I did too. And
what were your thoughts?
And when I watched it, I was a little concerned when I saw how much time was left on my recording. I was like, ooh, like I don't know if they're gonna give them enough time. But no, it worked very well.
Yeah.
And Dragunov has used the H-bomb as a finisher as long as as well as Torpedo Moscow. So when he hit the second turnbuckle H-bomb and didn't get the pin, I was like, yeah, okay, that's not used as much for the finisher as Torpedo Moscow. But then when he hit the top rope one right after, and the hurt his wrist and led to the delay in pinning him, and he got kicked out of again. Just again, we always talk about finishers being protected, but again, with the little delay.
Oh yeah, for the last one, I was okay with that last one. He got hurt, he delayed, and then when he went for the pin, it was just a weak one arm over him pin, which then I'm okay with that.
I liked the ending a lot, where they were both in the corner setting up for their finishers and like who's gonna get it first. And Trick hit the trick shot first, and I liked how there was no false finish. There wasn't Dragunov kicks out and Trick has to hit one or two more. They did right by Trick, giving him the clean win with the one clean finisher. And one could argue, hey, Dragunov had a great run, and they could have had him, especially because in that match with that fantastic match with Walter that he had. I think he kicked out of a couple of Walter's big moves and before he himself won. So an argument could be made they could have had him, some sort of delay in a pin, and then he himself kicks out of Trick's finisher, and then Trick hits it again but just minor little things. But I that you could be a little peeved about, but I think overall it was the right decision to have him not kick out of the Trick shot. In the spot when they went through the table and Dragunov's face when he was so like, oh, that was fantastic. Oh yeah.
He's a good seller. He's doing.
Did you catch the interaction with him and Priest?
Natural.
Before the match. That was interesting.
Yes.
Because when they were showing other people popping up in the thing, I was thinking he may have a run-in with Gunther. And to revisit that. But when I saw it was Priest, I was like, all right, well, and then seeing how the match went. Oh, yeah, well, and I guess he did the Raw after Mania, he did wrestle at Raw, obviously. So I'm thinking that's going to be where he ends up. I'm assuming. So, but no, very very good match.
Yeah.
Very very good match. And dude, the crowd was pumped. So that yeah, no, good. Pretty good show. Pretty good show. Just besides the Baron Corbin, just nonsense. Oh God, dude! And they're the Ridge Holland stuff with Sean Spears. Oh my God, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. I know it's not, but it really
it's not
needs to
stop. Give it a couple more weeks.
No, they'll
forget.
No, they won't. No,
nobody will remind them.
No, they won't.
They'll forget.
Unfortunately for us, but
well, I'll remind them. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 14 of the Golden Squeeze podcast. We are coming up on the draft. Excited for the draft. Raw and SmackDown should be fun. See who changes places. Hopefully they spice things up a little bit, but we'll talk about that on a later date. And if you like the podcast, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell icon, and we will see you later on the Golden Squeeze podcast.